All right, welcome to lesson 2.3.2, day 2. So let's start off with the instructions. It says, write a system of linear equations to represent each problem situation. Solve the system of equations using any method. So you get to choose whether you want to use the elimination method or the substitution method. All right, so starting with number 1, let's read it together. Jason and Jerry are competing at a weightlifting competition. They are both lifting barbells containing 200 pounds of weights. Jason's barbell has 4 large and 10 small plates on it. Jerry's barbell has 6 large and 5 small plates on it. How much does each large plate and each small plate weigh? So let's write an equation for Jason. Let's write his in blue. 4 large and 10 small. Let's actually write out what our variables are. I'm going to say L is equal to large plates. Oh, I don't know why it looks like that, but yep. And then S is equal to small plates. And let's write our equation for Jason in blue. So 4 large. So 4 multiplied by the number of large plates plus 10 small, so 10S. And how much does it weigh total? 200. That's what it says. Let's do the same thing for Jerry. So Jerry's barbell has 6 large and 5 small. So 6 large, 5 small is equal to, how much does his weigh? Also 200. Okay, so from here you get to choose whether or not you want to do elimination or substitution. And so for me, when I'm looking at it, I'm just going to compare the 4s and the L's, or the 4L and the 6L, and I'll also compare the 10S and the 5S, and I'm going to see what I can do with that. Right now, to me, it looks like the 10S and the 5S, you can actually make those into both 10S and negative 10S if we simply multiply the bottom equation by negative 2. So I'm going to choose to do the elimination method for this one. So let me rewrite it for distributing. So negative 2 times 6L, negative 12L. Negative 2 times 5S, negative 10S. Negative 2 times 200, negative 400. And then let's rewrite this equation over here. We have 4L plus 10S is equal to 200. And notice now we have forced the two equations to have an opposite. So we have a negative 10S and a positive 10S. So when you add those together, they're going to be able to eliminate each other and therefore cancel out. So let's add it straight down. Negative 12L plus 4L gives us negative 8L. The 10S's cancel out because one is a negative 10S, one is a positive 10S. And then negative 400 plus 200 is negative 200. Now, L is being multiplied to negative 8, so you do the opposite, you divide by negative 8. Those cancel out, we get L is equal to negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 200 divided by 8 would give us 250, I believe. But let me double check. Oh, sorry, not 250, 25. Let me just double check on my calculator because I'm a little bit tired now and I don't want to make a mistake in front of you. Okay, I just checked on my calculator and it is indeed 25. And don't forget, you're allowed to use a calculator too, so no shame in that. All right, so L is 25, and then let's figure out S. So to figure out S, we just need to plug it into either of the equations. So I don't know, let's just plug it into the top equation. So 4L plus 10S is equal to 200. So 4 times 25 plus 10S is equal to 200. 4 times 25 is 100 plus 10S is equal to 200. So we're going to subtract 100 from both sides. Cancels out. We get 10S is equal to 100. And then S is being multiplied to 10, so you're going to divide by 10 to cancel that out. S is equal to 10. So instead of writing in coordinate notation, let's answer our question. Since we didn't use X and Y, there's no point to write in coordinate notation. But how much does each large plate and each small plate weigh? Where do I have space for my answer? I'm going to write my answer in this box, or in this bubble. So each large plate, L is 25. So each large plate weighs 25. And then what about the small plates? S is equal to 10. So small weighs 10. Barely fit it in my bubble, but that's my answer. All right. Hopefully you guys have a little bit more luck with your spacing. I will write smaller for number 2. I am sorry. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. But if not, let's try number 2. Number 2 says, Alicia has a booth at the flea market where she sells purses and wallets. All of her purses are the same price, and all of her wallets are the same price. The first hour of the day, she sells 10 purses and 6 wallets for a total of $192. The second hour, she sells 8 purses and 10 wallets for a total of $183. How much does Alicia charge for each purse and each wallet? So I'm just going to use P and W. P equals purse. W equals wallet. Make it easier on yourselves. Don't use X and Y. P and W, because why not? Okay, and then let's see. For the first hour is 10 purses and 6 wallets. 10 purses, 6 wallets for a total of $193. Second hour, it's 8 purses and 10 wallets. 8 purses, 10 wallets for a total of $183. Okay, how much does Alicia charge for each purse and each wallet? So let's take a look at this one. We have 10p plus 6w is equal to 193. 8p plus 10w is equal to 183. Since it would be, you would get a lot of fractions if you tried to get p by itself, or if you tried to get w by itself, you would still have a lot of fractions. I'm not going to try it that way. I'm going to go with the elimination method again. So we can either eliminate the p's or the w's, and it's up to us. It really doesn't matter. Last time we eliminated the second variable, so this time let's eliminate the p's, the first variable. So 10p and 8p. They're not exactly the same yet, so we're going to need to multiply them by something. So I could easily multiply the top one by 8 and the bottom one by -10. Sorry for the space. I had a very little space, so I wrote a very little -10. And that way, we will force the top one to become 80p and the bottom to become -80p. Another thing that you guys might be thinking is maybe you can multiply it not by 8 and -10, but you could also multiply these by 4 and -5, which would force these to become -40 and +40. That works, but I'm not going to show it that way. I just want to be consistent. So I'm going to multiply the 10p by the 8 and the 8p by the -10 so that they both become 80 and -80. So that's just me trying to be consistent with what I did before. But if you think you want to try it, making them into 40 and -40, go ahead. You are still correct. Anyways, distribute. That gives you 80p. Distribute 48w. Distribute. And I don't know what that is, so I'm going to use a calculator. 193 times 8 is 1,544. Do not be intimidated by big numbers. We have calculators. Let's do the bottom. -10 times 8, -80p. -10 times 10w minus 100w. -10 times 183. 1,000, or -1,830. So now we have our two equations, and notice that indeed we have 80 and negative 80. They are opposites, so we can add them straight away now, and that will cancel out. And then with negative 100W and 48W, we would get negative 52W is equal to, and then for that bit, I'm going to do 1,544 minus 1,830. Remember, you are allowed to use calculators. So we get that. Then W is being multiplied to negative 52, so we divide by negative 52, so they cancel out. And then get W is equal to negative times, or negative divided by a negative gives you a positive, so it would be positive 5.5. Okay, so 5.5 is our W. We are not done yet. We must plug this in to either of our equations so that we can get our p-value. We already know how much a wallet costs. Now we need to know how much a purse costs. So I'm just going to use this equation. 10p plus 6w is equal to 193. So 10p plus 6, I'm not going to use the letter w, I'm going to use 5.5 is equal to 193. Okay, so we're going to write this out. 10p, and then this is plus 33 is equal to 193. Subtract 33. Those get to cancel because you just did the opposite, so they cancel. And this is equal to 160. Divide by 10 because it's being multiplied to 10, so you want to cancel that out by doing the opposite. P is equal to 16. Okay, so remember we need to write out this in terms of the situation. So I'm going to find space. I guess I have space in the bottom. So W is 5.5. Wallets cost $5.50. That's what 5.5 means, right? $5.50. And purses cost $16. Okay, and I guess to be consistent, I'll put this one in a bubble also. All right, so let me know if you have any questions. You can always pause the video and let me know. Trying to zoom out here. Okay, there we go. Let's go on to 3 and 4. So number 3 says Marcus is selling t-shirts at a state fair. He brings 200 shirts to sell. He has long sleeve and short sleeve t-shirts for sale. On the first day of the fair, he sells half of his long sleeve t-shirts and 1/3 of his short sleeve t-shirts for a total of 80 t-shirts sold. How many of each type of t-shirt did Marcus bring to the fair? Okay, so for this one, let's use L for long sleeve t-shirts. I'm just going to write long sleeve. S for short sleeve. Okay, so let's start off with this first few sentences. Marcus is selling t-shirts at the state fair. He brings 200 shirts to sell. So if you take all the long sleeves and you add all the short sleeves to it, you should get 200 because he brought long sleeves and short sleeves and he brought 200. So long plus short sleeves equals 200. Then the next part is probably the one that's going to throw you guys off just because it has fractions. But don't worry about the fractions. We're going to get rid of them in just a moment, but we have to use them first. So on the first day of the fair, he sells half of his long sleeve t-shirts. So I guess I'll underline it. Half of his long sleeve t-shirts. And I'll write 1/2 of the L's, half of the long sleeves, and 1/3 of his short sleeves. So plus 1/3 of the short sleeves equals a total of 80 t-shirts sold. See, 1/2 L plus 1/3 S is equal to 80. It's not that bad. We're about to get rid of the fractions. So in order to get rid of these fractions, all you have to do is multiply by the denominator. Remember, I always say fractions are a division problem. So how do you get rid of dividing? You multiply. So let's do this one at a time. If I want to get rid of the 1/2, all I have to do is multiply by 2. So those cancel out. 2 times the 1/2 just cancels out to give us L. Plus 2 times 1/3 is just 2/3. So I just did the 2 times the 1 on the top. So 2 times the 1 on the top gives us a 2 on the top. And then 2 times the 80 is 160. However, that just got rid of one fraction. Let's get rid of the other fraction. The other fraction is divided by 3, so what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply by 3. So 3 times L, 3L. 3 times 2/3 S. Well, the 3 will cancel with the 3, so it's now plus 2S. Because it was 2 divided by 3, and now we are multiplying by 3, the 3's get to cancel. We are left with 2S. All right, and then finally, 160 times 3 gives us 480. So now we just took that second equation and made it, well, without fractions. And now, here's this top one. I'm just going to write it underneath. L plus S equals 200. Okay, so for this one, you could easily multiply the bottom equation by a number so that we can do elimination, but we just did 2 examples of elimination earlier. So I actually want to see if I can show you a substitution. So to substitute, you want to get one of the letters by itself. So let's pretend I want to get L by itself. So if we have L plus S is equal to 200, I'm just going to subtract S from both sides. We got L, cancel those out, is equal to negative S plus 200. So do you see how the L is by itself now? All we did was move the S to the other side. So I'm going to try to do a substitution example with this one. So now that the L is by itself, we're not even going to use this equation. We're going to use this. And I'm going to plug it into this one. I was like, how do I point? That one, draw an arrow. Okay, so we have, for this equation, it's 3L plus 2S is equal to 480. So 3L, instead of L, I'm going to write all of this. So 3L plus 2S is equal to 480. So that's literally just this equation. It's the same old equation, except instead of the L, I just shoved in this bit in place of where the L was. Okay, and so now we can distribute and solve for S. So I'm going to distribute negative 3S. So that looks like a 5. Let me be a little bit better about that. And then 3 times 200. And then plus the rest of it. And then let's combine the negative 3S and the 2S. That gives us negative S. And then we can subtract 600. We get S, or negative S, is equal to negative 120. But we want positive S, so all we have to do is switch it around. S is equal to positive 120. If negative S is negative 120, then positive S is positive 120. So we are not quite done yet because we only know the short sleeves amount, but we still need to find the L. So I'm going to plug it in into this blue equation because it's a lot nicer than this old equation. Okay, so then let's write it out. L plus S is equal to 200. I am running out of space. Let me, I'm just going to write underneath it. L plus, instead of the S, I'm going to write 120. Now we can solve for L by subtracting 120. And L is equal to, those cancel out, we get 80. So our final answer to figure out the question, they asked, how many of each type of t-shirt did Marcus bring to the fair? So where can I write my answer? Where do I have space? Okay, I will write it in this space. So where is it? S is 120, right over here. That means 120 short sleeves. 120 short sleeve. And then L is 80, so 80 long sleeves. Okay, and I'm going to put this in a bubble. And there we go. This is our number, whatever this number was. Number 3. So I know it looks longer, but that's just because this skills practice assignment instructions is kind of in the way, so my bad. All right, let's try number 4 out. Number 4 says, Weston wants to buy a 1-year membership to a golf course. Rolling Hills Golf Course charges a base fee of $200 and an additional $15 per round of golf. Majestic View Golf Course charges a base fee of $350 and an additional $10 per round of golf. Determine the number of rounds of golf for which both golf courses charge the same amount. Explain which golf course Weston should become a member at depending on the number of rounds he intends to play. So let's first start by labeling our variables. This one's a little bit different from the others, but it's more like the older problems we did. Since it says per round of golf, we're kind of talking about a rate, so we're gonna kind of have a y equals mx plus b type of equation. So I'm gonna let y be the dollars, or I guess amount of money he pays. Oh, amount of money he pays is just called cost. This is why I majored in math, not English. Y is cost. There we go. And then x, our independent variable, can be a round of golf. Okay, so when you're writing the equations for, let's do Rolling Hills first. Rolling Hills Golf Course charges a base fee of $200. That means even if you don't golf that month, you're gonna pay $200. So that's your starting amount. And then you're gonna pay an additional $15 per round of golf. So every single time you play a round of golf, every single time, you're gonna pay $15 more. So the cost is going to be equal to $15 per round. So that's the rate of change. So it's 15 multiplied by x, plus your base fee of 200. Notice that this type of problem is a little bit different from the previous types of problem. Okay, and the more practice you get writing equations for these types, the more you get the hang of it. All right, let's do it for Majestic View Golf Course. They charge a base fee of $350, so that's your starting amount, and an additional $10 per round of golf. So for them, the cost is equal to $10 per round plus your base fee of $350. Okay, so now we have our two equations. We're going to solve for this, and then we're going to determine when they cost the same amount. Okay, so to solve for this one, notice that in both of these equations, actually, y is already just by itself. So that makes it a lot easier when we're trying to do our substitution method. So I'm just going to set both of them equal to each other because y is equal to 15x plus 200. Y is also equal to 10x plus 350. So I can write 10x plus 350, which is literally just replacing this y. I'm going to replace it right there, is equal to 15x plus 200. So where the old y was, I just replaced it with what y is actually equal to. Y is equal to 10x plus 350. That's what the second equation says. So I just rewrote the first equation in terms of the second. So solving for this, we got 10x plus 350 is equal to 15x plus 200. There's nothing for us to distribute, so I'm just going to rewrite it without the parentheses. Oops, sorry. Then you can solve for x. Let's bring them to the same side. You get 350 is equal to 5x plus 200. Then let's move the numbers to the other side. So I'm going to minus 200. Then that will give us 150 is equal to 5x. And then that cancels out. 5 is being multiplied to x, so we're going to do the opposite, divide, divide, get 30 is equal to x. Okay, so 30 is equal to x. What does 30x even mean? X is cats, x is dogs, x is what? X is rounds of golf, okay? So when it's asking Determine the number of rounds of golf for which both golf courses charge the same amount. Let's write that out. Both golf courses charge the same amount after 30 rounds of golf. I'm going to put that in my bubble answer. Okay, so from here, we need to answer the second question as well. Explain which golf course Weston should become a member at depending on the number of rounds he intends to play. So remember, at exactly 30 rounds, he will pay the same amount. And then let's say he plays 31 rounds, okay? So we're going to take a look at what happens after that. So for Rolling Hills, I'm just going to call it RH for Rolling Hills. And then the other one's called Majestic View, so I'm going to call that MV. Just so I remember what color represents what name, because they have weird names and I can't remember that. So at 30 rounds of golf, they're going to cost the same. However, the blue equation, Rolling Hills, every single round of golf, they're going to charge $15. And Majestic View, the purple one, every single round of golf, they charge $10. So if he were to go and play 31 rounds of golf, so 31 now instead of 30, 30 is equal. If you were to play 31 rounds, Rolling Hills will cost more because they charge $15 per round of golf. So if, what's his name? Weston wants to play more than 30 rounds, he should go with, what was that called? MV, Majestic View. See how I forget the names? He should go with Majestic View because after that, it's only going to be $10 per round of golf. So it's cheaper. He should go with Majestic View. I'm just going to say MV. Okay? If Weston wants to play less, than 30 rounds, he should go with, all right, so if he does less than 30 rounds, who has a smaller starting price? RH, Rolling Hills has a smaller starting price. So if he's playing less than 30, he only has to deal with the smaller starting price of 200 versus Majestic View has a starting price of 350. So if Weston wants to play fewer than 30 rounds, then he should go with Rolling Hills. I'm just going to abbreviate with RH. Okay, so this would be your final answer for the second part of this question. Okay, now if you have any questions, please let me know. But other than that, the rest of the skills practice problems are for you to do. You're going to do Part E numbers 2, 3, and 7 through 12. So let me scroll through that. So notice it says Part E's number 2, 3, and 7 through 12. So I'm going to cross out 1. I'm going to cross out 4. I'm going to cross out 5 and 6. But you are supposed to do 7, 8, and I guess it's repeating. Oh, you know what? I see. Sorry, don't cross those out. My bad. Do not cross those out. Just do the ones that are here. We forgot that we relabeled it when we did the worksheet. Sorry, don't cross it out. My apologies, I got you all excited. And I think it repeats, so you only have to do up to here. Then this is a repeat. Yeah, you're going to notice when it repeats, you don't have to do the repeated questions, okay? So I guess to clarify, you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I don't know why it repeats, but you don't have to do these because you've already just done them. These are the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So obviously don't repeat that. Okay. If you have any questions because that was confusing at the end, just call me over and I will come help you out. Sorry about that, and thank you. I'll see you later.